Coming in when you took over Showtime in terms of their programming for combat sports, how was it like dealing with the people over at Zuffa, with the Fertittas and Dana White? Because I know there was a bit of animosity with the old regime, and then you came in.
I think both sides were a little hesitant coming into it. They didn't know what to expect from me. I knew that there was a little bit of a history, before me. But when we all got in a room and we had a big meeting, 20 people on their side, probably 10 or 12 on ours, it was actually kind of surprising. It went really, really well. And everyone put whatever preconceived notions or history aside, and it's been it was a great relationship, from there forward. So, every relationship has its ups and downs, but the reality is, I have nothing but positive things to say about all the guys at Zuffa, from Dana and Lorenzo and all of them.
Now, Dana had made it a mission of his that he wanted to get more involved with the Strikeforce promotion, and then reading up, he said that he can't be more involved, that he had some ideas that he pitched over for production, and according to what was reported online, that it was all shot down. I want to see if you could comment on what's going on with all that.
I would disagree with that characterization. I don't want to get too much into any dirty laundry, but if we look at the situation, I'm brand new to this job. I'm brand new to the position of being a TV executive. I think actually that's one of my strengths, is I don't have preconceived notions of how production should work, or who should determine the lighting, or what the sound should be. So I've come, and I'd like to think that I'd started with a clean slate on boxing and MMA. So, whether Dana has more ideas, or anyone in Zuffa, I welcome them. What my goal is not to worry about ownership of ideas, but really to maximize our programming and make it look as good as possible.
Certainly, it's helped out on the boxing side of things, because we're seeing the undercards being incorporated, something that MMA's been doing for quite some time. Looking at the future of Strikeforce, I know the heavyweight division was taken out and merged over to the UFC. That must have been a big blow for you guys looking at it, because seeing that a lot of people saw Strikeforce having a stronger heavyweight division than the UFC.
Well, you really can't argue with the results of the Strikeforce fighters that have gone to UFC. I mean, they've really performed well. So, any perception, earlier or now, that Strikeforce wasn't an A-level league, I think, that's been completely, destroyed. At this point, we know that the talent that we have in Strikeforce, is A-level talent. Zuffa had some ideas about what weight classes they like to focus on, and at the end of it, it works for us as well, because quite honestly, we've got a real star in the women's division, in Ronda Rousey, and we've got some homegrown guys like Gilbert Melendez. So, the way it shakes out, it took a little bit of adjustment, but at this point, there's no shortage of talent to go around. Whether even people who are not even signed to Strikeforce yet, there are thousands of people out there who kill for the opportunity, literally. So there is more than enough talent to go around for Zuffa, Strikeforce, UFC, and other organizations. That's the one thing I'm not worried about.
So what's the plan now for the future of Strikeforce? A lot of people are saying also, what's the point of having the Strikeforce promotion when all the champions in Strikeforce want to fight the UFC champions?
Well, we'll see where that goes in the long run. I think Dana has said it, and I've said it before as well. Anything's possible. Whether we'll have matchups across the companies, later on, possibly so. The way I like to look at this is sort of like the NL and the AL in baseball. Basically the same sport. There's some differences in rules, and some people like AL baseball better, some people like NL baseball better. But at the end of the day, it's all great baseball. You can be a fan of both.
So, NL and AL, they play in the World Series. So, are you alluding that Strikeforce champions, UFC champions in a major pay-per-view? That, of course, I'm taking that it has been discussed.
I would love to see it. Now there are, whether it will happen, there are always complicating factors, but it'd be a dream. I think it'd be a dream for the fans. I think it'd be a great opportunity for both companies.
Will UFC programming ever end up on Showtime?
I'm not completely familiar with all of their contractual provisions, but I think that would be a problem contractually now. However, in the long run, I wouldn't say that that's outside the realm of possibility. I would hope that Zuffa would say that it's a positive enough experience, that might be something in the long run, and I'd be happy to consider it as well.
Steven, thank you very much. We certainly appreciate it.
All right, great. Thank you.
Enter code HUB749 for a domain name discount and enter the codes below for other great discounts from GoDaddy.com.